I have a swing good self. It's 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And so, with the increase in new viewership, it's time to again repeat my video topic on the idol worshipping day of the Sabbath. As all of you don't know the origin, let alone the changes that took place over time. Most of you are aware, or I would hope that you understand, that the Jews celebrate the Sabbath on Saturday, and that Christians, for the most part, celebrate on Sunday. And you're led to believe that it had something to do with Jesus being resurrected. You don't know. Just say you don't know. What is interesting is that there's an anachronism in the Book of Mormon that I and only I have caught because I know the origin of the Sabbath. And so, are you listening, ex-Mormons? It's Abinadi, where he's repeating the Ten Commandments for the priests who are wagging their tongues and spitting on them and saying, "How shall we look when we are damned?" That's how you'll look. And he includes keep the Sabbath day holy. And if you're under the assumption that the Bible is literal history, despite all of the archaeological problems that the Book of Mormon is having with its literal history, you'd be wrong, because the Book of Mormon was written in the same manner as the Bible, as Jewish prophecy for the latter days. That's why you will not be able to confirm archaeological sites and excavations and evidence with either of the books. And so we have to go back, step back in time. Kylie Minogue, don't let me forget. The description below. Are you guys even listening to the songs I put below? I know it's complicated because YouTube is going TikTok on cell phones. Very frustrating trying to use YouTube as a creator on my phone. It's just, there's no way. I have no idea how anybody else is able to do it. But even the computer and the laptop that I have here, it's very frustrating. I have to scroll down to find videos. They have a search for the most part, but you have to know the exact title. It's very frustrating. And they've taken out checking the oldest ones first. It's very user unfriendly. But anyway, the Sabbath. We have to go back to the Babylonians, because they're the first ones who caused all this. They were the first fully developed idol worshippers. They had turned the Egyptian religion into a form of idol worship. And idol worship is the belief that an object, doesn't matter what kind of object, has the moral capacity to be possessed with morality, and that it can bestow morality upon humans and possess them. So when you read Daniel, you don't have the Apocrypha, because the church says that Joseph Smith's King James Version didn't have the Apocrypha, even though there's a whole section on the Doctrine and Covenants about the Apocrypha being good to go. We just don't have it in our scripture. It's the story of Bel. And so Daniel is brought before the king. The king shows him the evidence, the scientific proof, the bill is real because he eats the food every night. And so Daniel made sure to spread sawdust or powder or something on the floor, and had the king seal the Holy of Holies. They had the food out as usual. So in the morning they come, the king opens up, it was sealed tight, so nobody entered in from the outside, and the food was gone. And the king says, "See, my God is real. Bow to him. Bow to the king of ill putrescence." And Daniel says, "There's footprints in the sand." They follow the footprints. There's a secret passageway in the temple from the Holy of Holies that led to the tent of the priests. The priests were purposely perpetuating idol worshiping God scenario. And so the only problem is that the Jews had already been assimilated when the story had been written during the Roman period time. They've been fully immersed into all things Babylonian. That's why the Jews celebrate the Sabbath on Saturday, Friday night into Saturday. That's because of the Babylonians. Now, the reason why the Babylonians had a seventh day of rest, that part in the Bible, in Genesis, that was added in to the Egyptian version of the Heliopolis creation glyph. And so that needs to be removed from the equation. Is that because the Egyptians, you go to the temple any day you want. Every day is the Sabbath day if you want it to be. And so the Babylonians were afraid of the number 7. 7 became the bad luck number for them. And so they developed a calendar with 7 days in a week. And thus the 7th day became the day of rest, because it was superstitious to work on the bad luck day. So they ordered nobody work on the Sabbath, the 7th day. And that's why the number 7 in Assyrian, Babylonian is close to Sabbath in its spelling or pronunciation spelling. And so this had carried on for the Jews as they're fully assimilated into the Babylonian culture, even after they go back to Jerusalem and build the temple.
Attention, gentlemen, I have 2 different shuttles here for you. One is going to the shelter location, the other one is only going to the Wigan Center.
And so then
again, I have
move forward into time.
Shuttles here
We
for
get to
you.
Emperor
One
Roman
is currently
Emperor
only going to
Constantine.
shelter.
Constantine
The other is only going to the Wigan Center. So if there's
had
a thing you would desire
left
to do, I'd
Saturday
advise you to come up
for
and
a
sign up on the
celebration,
list.
but added Sunday for the worship of the sun god Jesus that he created. And that's where the Sunday Sabbath began. Has nothing to do with being resurrected on Sunday, and no. But if you're going to add symbolism, like Christmas, it's the holiday season for shopping. You can add that in and it becomes part of your traditional culture, which is similar to what Christians did. Because there were Christians divided on this Sunday Sabbath, as Seventh-day Adventists, for example, still practice the Sabbath on Saturday. But that's the history. And so why then does the Book of Mormon pull the anachronism of Abinadi? Well, if you understand that Sidney Rigdon's the major author of the Book of Mormon, Sidney Rigdon was a Baptist Campbellite and left for creative differences, which is why when he joined the church in December, he was immediately put to the task of rewriting the Bible, which is exactly why he left Alexander Campbell's church. And so he was getting paid for his service without anybody knowing he was getting paid. And so, as part of the conditions, he wanted to have a Sunday Sabbath where he can give lectures, speak, preaching, and have a sacrament service along with it. And so that's why you have the sacrament prayers at the end of the Book of Mormon, as they still had a little bit more time to finish the book in 1.5 months. There's so many things I am discovering for you guys, and you just don't care, because ex-Mormons have told you the truth, which are lies, and you believe them, and you don't believe me, even though I've contributed. Guys, Section 10 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Check it. It'll say 1828. No. It's 1829. From the Joseph Smith Papers, 1829. Bruce R. McConkie moved it back to fix the time period. No. And so, one of those things that you got to pay attention to, and that's why I tell you when you're doing research to get your separate sheets of paper or files on your computer, however you want to do it, and put names, places, dates, events, so that when you recognize a pattern, oh, Joseph Smith Sr. was there where Heber C. Kimball said he applied to be a master or a Royal Ark Masonry at that same lodge. Wow, I wonder if they knew. They don't know each other? Why is that, Heber? And so those kinds of things are necessary for anybody doing research on church history. And too many authors are putting in their biased opinions with the missing facts that nullifies their conclusions. And so the woman who wrote the book about Joseph Smith Sr. as being a drunken bum, no, you're wrong. He worked, did the best he can, became a master mason, was involved in Freemasonry, and was with the New Israelites. He wasn't irreligious. He went to Kabbalah. He was studying Kabbalah. And if you leave that fact out, you get wrong information that gets more popular than I do. So we're done, right? Sabbath is over.